Live from the MLB Players Gala in Phoenix, Arizona. This is Roy Kessel for Sports Philanthropy Network, and this evening we're excited to have with us a special guest. We have Larry Curry from Metro Fieldhouse. So, Larry, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you.
I appreciate you taking time out of this amazing evening and all of the activities to come and tell us a little bit more about the work that you're doing.
Yeah, so the name of the organization is Metro Sports Fieldhouse, and our primary mission is to use sports as a vehicle to empower kids, provide educational opportunities and career pathway opportunities.
So take us through that a little bit, because you mentioned a number of things, and one of the challenges we see is there's so many organizations out there that are involved in sports in different ways. What made you start this organization?
Oh man, so I grew up in a pretty rough community in Dallas, Texas. And the number one thing I would hear all the time is growing up was sports was the way out of a situation. Sports was the way out of your current struggles or your current environment. And that may be true for like 1% of the population, right? And so as I got older and I started developing my business acumen and learning that there's more to life than sports, I wanted to pay that forward, and I wanted to expose kids to all of these career opportunities that exist either in sports or in other industries. And so my mission and our mission at Metro Sports is to use the sports and all the cool things that come from sports. There's a lot of benefits from physical activity and from sports, but there's also an inherent benefit that's outside of the field of play or the court that we need to be using sports for to expose our kids to.
So you talked about people feeling sports is the way out, right? And what's interesting is being a professional athlete is a tiny fraction, right? But there's so many people, you look around this room tonight, look around the building, there's so many careers in sports that are opportunities for kids. So how do you incorporate that into your program?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We're actually launching a new program. It's called our Career Exploration Program. And we're going to be taking about 100 kids to our local sports teams and let them hands-on experience all the different careers in sports, whether it's behind the camera, whether it's with a microphone, whether it's a physical therapist, whether it's the sound guys, whether it's the trainer. We're going to expose them hands-on and let them shadow some of these people that are doing these jobs and for these different teams. We're going to be possibly working with the Rangers, the Cowboys, and the Dallas Mavericks to provide this exposure opportunity for our kids.
So that's a great accomplishment. I don't think the average nonprofit gets the opportunity to engage and work with professional sports teams at that level. So take us through that process of how you were able to cultivate those relationships to get access to professional teams.
That's an awesome question as well. A lot of hard work. We've done a lot of great work in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we've impacted so many different kids from different sectors of the Dallas-Fort Worth area to where we've built these relationships with some of the community people within these sports teams, and they want to get back. A lot of these teams want to get back. I encourage nonprofits out there to just ask. You have to put in the legwork, do the legwork, put in the effort, and then ask. I feel like a lot of nonprofits are afraid and held back by not just asking. So we built some of the relationships and networks through chamber meetings, through different galas, different events, and honestly the work. And they want to partner with us to make a tangible difference with these kids.
When you talk about being afraid to ask and people needing to just ask that question, it doesn't come from simply asking, because as soon as you ask, those teams are going to look behind the curtain and they're going to see what are you actually doing, what kind of work, and how are you changing lives. So take us back to the beginning. You know, these relationships don't materialize overnight. So how did you start going down that pathway? What was the first thing you focused on in building the organization?
So the first thing I focused on is the kids, first of all. First and foremost, our parents, our kids, and our families. And then through our relationships with the cities that we serve, we were able to have a lot of doors open to us through chamber members, through council members, through city managers, through mayors, and then just inviting them out to see what you do, because you are correct. People don't just say yes right off the bat. You have to prove to them the concept. You have to prove to them that you're here in their cities to stay. Number one question I got asked when I first started serving in Arlington was, are you here to stay? Are you just a fly-by-night nonprofit, or are you here to stay? Once you prove that you're here to stay and to make a tangible difference in their communities, the doors will open for you once you ask those questions, but you have to prove the concept.
And how long of a process was it from your experience to prove that you're here to stay?
We've been a 501c3 for about 10 years. We've been doing the work for about 14. It probably took us about 7 years to really start seeing some of those doors open. So nonprofits, don't get discouraged when those doors don't open, because it takes a second. You are still, if you're 2-3 years in, you are a new nonprofit. It takes about 6 to 7 years in our experience for those doors to just start busting wide open for you, but they will.
And that's an important point. I think, Larry, you hit on it, is you got to have that patience. That doesn't mean don't push. That doesn't mean don't ask. It doesn't mean don't try. But don't get discouraged because the first time you apply for a grant or the second time you apply for a grant, you don't get it, because you're just getting to know these organizations. So when you reached out, I'm sure it wasn't your first reach out to these teams before you were successful.
Correct. And also what I made sure that I do is I ask the teams, I ask any donor, grantor, how can we help? My first meetings with these teams, I'm like, hey, I don't ask for a single thing. I talk to them about what we're doing. I invite them out to see what we're doing, and then I ask them how can we help them be involved in the community. I don't ask for a single thing. And then over time, they see that you're in it for the right reasons and that you are a benefit to them and the communities that they're serving, and then they will eventually open those doors to you.
Well, I think you help show them the pathway of what supporting you means, right? One of the best fundraising trainers I ever had talked about a concept of what the eyes don't see, the heart won't feel. So until you get them out there, they don't really understand your work.
Yes, they have to get out there. They have to see your passion for it, because we can talk about it all day. But once they see you in action, they see the kids that you're serving, the impact that you're making, it speaks volumes. It speaks for itself.
And that's something I advise every organization is you can have the best video, you can throw the best gala, you can do the best event, you can bring in the best celebrity, but until you take somebody and walk them in and say, Larry, come and look at this, see the kids' eyes light up, see work going on, whether it's at a food pantry, at a homeless shelter, any space like that, that's really important.
Very important, very important. The actions speak louder than words. That's the old saying, right? Actions speak louder than words. Video, social media is great, videos are great. All that stuff is important, but actions speak louder than words.
And I think, you've accomplished a lot now. You said you've been 501c3 for 10 years. You've been doing the work for 14 years. Take us through what you see on the horizon in the next 2 to 3 years.
Oh, I love talking about this because I'm the type of guy that I always feel like we can be doing more. Even if we could impact 10,000 kids in a fiscal year, I feel like we can be doing more. So for Metro Sports Fieldhouse, the next step for us is, when we started the nonprofit, we named it Metro Sports Fieldhouse, because we have always had this vision of having our own space with classrooms, with amenities to serve through the sports, providing food, providing clothes to keep kids participating in sports, providing them equipment and things of that nature. The next thing for us in the next year, 2 years, is to acquire asset, land, to be able to build our own building and have our own space, and we're super close to doing that.
Well, congratulations on everything you've done. Tell us how our audience and our supporters can get involved with your work.
So our website is, I'll tell you how to find us, and then I'll tell you how you can get involved. Our website is www.metrosportsfieldhouse.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Metro Sports Fieldhouse, Facebook at Metro Sports Fieldhouse. We take donations, but if you're in Texas area, we always love volunteerism. That's bigger than donations. That's an invaluable resource to us. We like to have, for every 3 kids, we like to have a volunteer, just so we can have people pouring into them. But financial support is also beneficial. Resources, ideas are powerful. So if you have ideas on partnerships, collaboration, on how to help us grow, we're not prideful enough to take those resources and pay it forward. So,
well, Larry, congratulations. Appreciate you taking time out of the party. And for all of our viewers and listeners, you heard some great opportunities from Larry about how you can get involved in the work that you can do. So please reach out, follow their work, follow them on social media. Roy Kessel signing out for Sports Philanthropy Network, live from the Players Gala, MLB Players Trust Gala in Phoenix, Arizona. Please remember to live generously.